Certainly not the case here on Ketron Island. You can see there at SeaTac lots of lines. People were telling us that their plane slammed on the brakes as they were in mid-takeoff because of this apparent Horizon ground employee or mechanic with Horizon who stole this plane suddenly choosing to take off, and an unauthorized takeoff certainly, and causing a lot of panic and a lot of chaos over there at SeaTac Airport for those passengers who are on board their planes. And now we want to throw up a map that shows you where Ketron Island is in relation to where we are, and you can see Ketron Island there. That's where those police boats were right off of it, looking in the water initially before they were able to locate the flames and that debris there on the island of what we believe is the plane. You can see it there right now live on your screen.
Ketron Island, not a lot of people there. In fact, as of a few years ago, there were only 17 people that actually resided on the island. So it is a very sparsely inhabited island. And again, it appears as though these flames continue to burn quite hot in the trees and on the ground and in the very, very dry brush and grass where this plane has gone down. No word on whether there was a good deal of fuel on the plane. Obviously, something continues to burn there, so there was a certain amount of fuel that this person who stole the plane was able to fly as far as 25 miles before the crash after leaving SeaTac and then flying to the South Sound area. Once again, Ketron Island, just off Stillicum, out in the South Puget Sound area of the Northwest.
And just a reminder, we want to put there up on your screen a picture of what this plane looks like. This is a de Havilland Dash 8 turboprop. It was affiliated with Horizon Airlines, which obviously works with Alaska Airlines. You can see there. In fact, when we were talking with somebody there in a live interview on your screen about 10 minutes ago, he described seeing the Alaska logo on the side of the plane. He said he saw it go west over the Sound. He saw two jets, fighter jets trailing it. One was low, one was high, he said. And then he said in the distance, he heard a prop plane turn really hard. And then he said he heard an explosion noise. And of course, we sent Cairo 7's Allison Grandy out that way, and she saw the police boats in the water. And then Chopper 7 came overhead and provided these photos that we are putting on your screen right now.
Again, we were getting first word of this just after about 8 o'clock, so it's been a little more than an hour and a half since this presumably took place. Again, if you're just joining us here, and we are preempting our local programming at this point to bring you this very important story, a major story, a plane stolen out of SeaTac Airport, a Dash 8 Horizon Air plane. Pierce County Sheriff's Office saying that this was a mechanic for one of the airlines at SeaTac who literally took the plane, took off. Again, not with great ability, we understand, perhaps to fly this plane. Did some aerobatic maneuvers as they went south along the coastline, past University Place, past Stillicum, out over the water, being chased by two F-15s. And then, according to the eyewitness who heard it, ear witness who heard it, a hard banking turn before an explosion. And that, we presume, is this, the crash of that plane. We don't know if there was anyone on the ground, even remotely in the area, that could have been injured or killed in this. We believe that whoever, the one person on board that plane, likely did not survive this crash.
And we want to let you know this happened all about 90 minutes ago or so. We started receiving reports just after 8 o'clock, 8:15, about this unauthorized takeoff at SeaTac Airport. Now, of course, with an unauthorized takeoff, there are other planes that were trying to take off from SeaTac at the same time. Those planes had to slam on their brakes. So this not just affecting that one unauthorized ground employee, the mechanic, we're being told, but hundreds, thousands of different passengers who were stuck on the tarmac, who were stuck at SeaTac, and who were being affected at airports all over the area, all over our region, really. Planes being diverted from SeaTac because of this Horizon ground employee, according to the FAA source that we cited, who apparently stole this turboprop plane.
This is the emergency response now. We can see on the water's edge. You can see all the flashing lights attempting to get into position to go make contact with the wreckage, the burning wreckage on Ketron Island at this moment. Looks as though that might have been a ferry boat there that was getting into position to be able to take some of those emergency crews out to that island. As we told you, very sparsely populated island. We are getting a report here, and I am going to see, Coast Guard is saying now, responding to a large plume of smoke, possibly the plane crash following an unauthorized takeoff at SeaTac Airport. This is coming from our John Nicely, who is working his sources, who has a friend, someone who is a pilot at JBLM. He has been told that the F-15s, which were trying to escort this plane, tried to get him to land there at JBLM, and obviously to no avail, as this person stole this plane. For what reason, we do not know. But this appears to be the end of that very short trip. And certainly this raises all sorts of security questions at SeaTac Airport. Even if this was, as the FAA source is telling us, a Horizon ground employee, how they were able to get into this plane wherever it was secured, whether it was on the runway or on the tarmac or somewhere else in a hangar, how they were able to take off in an unauthorized manner from SeaTac Airport and then fly this plane all the way over to Ketron Island. There was speculation indeed on whether he knew how to properly, or she knew how to properly land this plane, knew how to properly fly this plane, and unfortunately it appears we are looking at the consequences of that right now. We dare not even think. Gary Horker is in a good position, and he's, I'm sure, talking to officials at SeaTac right now, trying to get more information. But think of how busy SeaTac Airport is at all hours of the day. But at around 8 o'clock in the evening, 8:15, for those of us who have flown in and out, we know that it is a very, very busy place. So with planes taking off and landing, how this person was able to get this plane even out of SeaTac is a remarkable feat. We have a live interview here right now. This is from our Terry Griffin again, I believe. No, I beg your pardon. It's Kevin McCarty.
Yeah, I heard
around this way a little bit.
Turn you this way, just a little bit. You heard a noise. I heard a bang, and I thought it was a drone. You know, because they fly the drones. Mm-hmm. And but I was thinking, oh, that's a little bit louder, too loud for a drone. So then, so we are. She's getting ready to walk away from me, and I'm going to go the opposite direction. We're going, you know, back toward our car. It's getting pretty late, about time for the park to close. And then all of a sudden I heard this big bang, and I looked, and there was the smoke, and she said, oh my goodness, she said, there was a plane crash. So, and then I met another couple. They had seen it. They say we were watching all of it. The plane was really low at one of the islands, maybe Fox Island, or one of the islands over here, and so the plane was upside down, and they saw two fighter jets, you know, escorting the plane. And so we chatted and kept our eyes on the activity over there, you know, the rescue, whatever. And at that time, I thought it was a passenger plane. It's the way they were explaining it to me. Because they actually saw the aircraft, and I just got just a glimpse of it. So they were talking about it was the fighter jets. And
what did you think of all this?
Well, I'm in super shock. I don't know what to think. And then later on, I met up with a couple. A family, some friends, and we were going toward our car. So a young lady had her cell phone, and she said that she looked up the news, and she said that she said it was Alaska Airline, mm-hmm. and it was a stolen plane. Mm-hmm. And there were two fighter jets.
Okay. All right, Ms. Ross, thank you very much.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Sorry, I can't be of no more help.
Thank you for
I've never been.
That's okay.
I've never been on the news or anything like that.
Thank you for telling me what you saw. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a lot of people can contribute a little bit more details than I.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and then which
all right, well, that's Kevin McCarty, who has been interviewing an eyewitness, I beg your pardon, as we are looking at pictures here. I believe this is videotape. I believe these are pictures taken earlier of the crash scene on Ketron Island. Chopper 7 was overhead about 10 minutes ago. Again, the flames had not subsided much, and as we continue to await from Stillicum, the dock at Stillicum, emergency vehicles are we expecting to be leaving to head over to Ketron Island very shortly if they haven't already. Coast Guard is on scene in the water around the area. They have confirmed plane crash on that island. And so, again, we are getting from a number of different sources. This is the Horizon Air Alaska Airlines flight. Empty plane. We understand only the pilot on board, and that person, we understand, not a pilot.
And we have a major update right now from the Pierce County Sheriff's Office. They have just tweeted 37 seconds ago, a male is confirmed, a suicidal male acted alone. And so we are working to find out more about that. And they are also telling us here that 2 military F-15s chased the plane but were not involved in the crash, which we believe we knew. We saw them chasing the plane, but they did not fire anything according to any witnesses.
Right. Kevin McCarty now is standing by live for us, our South Sound reporter. Kevin, the very latest, you just interviewed an eyewitness. What else are you learning?
Okay, so right now the situation here is we're in Chambers Bay in University Place, overlooking Chambers Bay here. Out there in that direction is Ketron Island. If you have a look, you might be able to see the blinking blue lights of emergency boats out there. Those are responding to this. We've talked to several eyewitnesses who say they saw this plane and saw the smoke. We can see the smoke coming off Ketron Island. They saw this plane coming in low. Some said it was so low that they could hear it but not see it because it was actually down below the tree line, and saw it doing barrel rolls and other maneuvers in the air. We just spoke with one woman you just heard from, Miss Ross, who says she saw it being followed by F-15 fighter pilots. So you can see the flames on Ketron Island. That is believed to be the crash site right there on Ketron Island. That is a sparsely populated island here in South Puget Sound. It is just a little bit southwest of Stillicum. So there aren't a lot of people on the island. The only way to that island is by ferry or by boat. So it's like, again, I say it's a very sparsely populated island. There aren't a lot of people there. So the chances that it crashed on any houses, the chances that it crashed on any houses are very, very slim at this point, but we don't know for sure what happened. There was audio from that plane of the man who stole it as he was speaking with FAA and air traffic control. We're going to have a listen to that right now.
First responders are on the ferry boat, and I'm showing the ferry boat.
Okay, all right, again, my apologies. I believe that we had that audio. I want to talk about the audio that came off that plane. You could hear that man actually talking with air traffic controllers, saying that he didn't know he had a screw loose until today, and that he was going to try to see what the plane could do. He was going to try to do some barrel rolls, and that he was going to put it down somewhere and was hoping for a soft landing. But as you can see right now, that plane has crashed, apparently, on Ketron Island. A short while ago, we could still see the F-15 fighter planes circling the area, circling the crash site. Emergency vehicles that are responding to this from the Pierce County, West Pierce Fire Department and the Pierce County Sheriff's Department and other departments have been loaded onto a ferry boat at the Stillicum dock. They're going to go across the water onto Ketron Island. Again,
we're showing that
there
now.
are very few people out there right now, so this is the only way to get out there. You can probably see the flashing lights there. That is Stillicum, downtown Stillicum, right on the waterfront that you're seeing. That is the area where the ferry boat loads. Also the boat that you may know goes to McNeil Island, where there used to be both a federal and then a state prison. That was where those ferry boats went across to those islands and over to Anderson Island. Also go to Ketron Island. Right now, what they're doing is they're loading emergency vehicles onto that boat, and they're going to head out to Ketron Island and respond to this fire scene. So again, a lot of confusion right now as crews try to get out there. There aren't a lot of emergency crews on Ketron Island. Again, it's very sparsely populated. Very few people live out there. So there aren't a lot of firefighters. There aren't a lot of sheriff's deputies and law enforcement out there. Right now, we're seeing a big response from the water. We're seeing a lot of aircraft over Ketron Island at the moment, trying to monitor this situation. But again, what we've heard from eyewitnesses is they saw this plane coming in low, being followed by 2 F-15 fighter planes. The audio we heard from the FAA, from air traffic control, was them trying to convince this pilot to turn that back around, go back to SeaTac and land it. But he kind of had, he was laughing, and he was saying, I didn't know I had a screw loose until today. Said he was going to try to see what maneuvers he could do with the plane, try a barrel roll. Some people reported seeing the plane doing barrel rolls over South Puget Sound, and then said, I'm going to try to put this down. And he said, I want to apologize to people. I'm sorry that it came to this. And then we had this crash on Ketron Island. So right now, what we're trying to do is put the pieces together, try to figure out what happened here. Emergency crews trying to get out to that sparsely populated, kind of remote island, not too far out into the sound, but just not easily accessible, and try to figure out what happened. Put that fire out. You might still be able to see the smoke off in the distance here in the night as that plane continues to burn.
We are seeing that. Kevin, let me jump in for 1 second. Two things. First of all, we have seen now the ferry boat has left, obviously with emergency vehicles and responders on it. So it is on its way already and is probably getting very, very close. We showed that just a couple of moments ago. But again, I just wanted to be clear here to all of our listeners and viewers. The quotes you're attributing to this person at the controls of this plane, this was actual audio tape from the control tower. These were words he spoke that were recorded, correct?
That's okay. Yes, I was able to listen to that actually by our news partner. Our news partner, Cairo Radio, was airing that audio tape, and I was able to listen to that as I was making my way to the scene, and heard the voice of the pilot talking to air traffic control. And he obviously sounded a little distraught, at times sounded upset, at times was laughing, and saying, I didn't know I had a screw loose until today. And I want to see what this plane can do. Let's see if it can do some barrel rolls. And then made some apologies and said he was going to try to put the plane down and hoped for a soft landing.
And thank you for that information, Kevin. And we do have more information from the Pierce County Sheriff. We told you about 10 minutes ago that they confirmed this was a male, a suicidal male, and they have said now that he acted alone, a 29-year-old Pierce County resident that they are working to get more background on now. They say that this is not clearly, obviously, a terrorist incident, a single suicide male who acted alone.
We are getting more word now from SeaTac Airport. The delays are starting to stack up. Our Gary Horker is standing by live. He's been talking to passengers and officials there. And Gary, it looks like we have yet another ground stop.